Imagine a world where the fight against drugs could topple a foreign government. Now that's a plot twist even Hollywood might struggle to match. As tensions simmer in the Caribbean, President Donald Trump is reportedly mulling over ambitious plans to directly assault cocaine production sites and smuggling pathways within Venezuela. According to insights from 3 U.S. officials who spoke with CNN, while the idea is on the table, Trump hasn't yet committed to proceeding, leaving room for other avenues. But here's where it gets controversial. Even though active diplomatic channels with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro have been severed in recent weeks, officials emphasize that Trump hasn't entirely dismissed the possibility of negotiating with Venezuela to curb the influx of narcotics into the United States. It's a fascinating juxtaposition. On one hand, aggressive military posturing. On the other, a door left ajar for talks. Venezuela isn't typically regarded as a primary hub for cocaine manufacturing. Yet the Trump administration has been vocal in connecting Maduro to the illicit drug world, portraying him as deeply entangled in the trade. And this is the part most people miss. Visible indicators on Friday hinted at a significant ramp-up in military activity, as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth directed the Navy's premier aircraft carrier strike group. Think of it as a floating fortress of jets, ships, and firepower, currently anchored in Europe, to relocate to the Caribbean. This move comes amid a substantial accumulation of American military assets in the area. To give you a clearer picture for beginners, an aircraft carrier strike group is like a mobile naval base, including destroyers and support vessels, capable of projecting power far from home shores. Simultaneously, Trump has greenlighted the CIA to undertake clandestine missions in Venezuela, adding layers of intrigue to the situation. There are proposals under review that the president is contemplating for actions on Venezuelan territory. One administration insider shared with CNN, noting that he hasn't excluded diplomatic options. Another official, who has participated in related talks, revealed that numerous strategies have been pitched to Trump. A third source indicated that this strategic planning spans across government departments, with top-level attention currently fixed on dismantling drug operations within Venezuela itself. In recent days, Trump has amped up his public commentary on the potential for ground-based strikes in Venezuela, complementing ongoing U.S. military actions against suspected drug-laden vessels in international waters. Just last night, for instance, forces targeted a boat believed to be transporting narcotics in the Caribbean, resulting in 6 fatalities. This brings the tally of assaulted boats to 10 and the death count to 43 since the campaign kicked off a month ago, as per Hegseth's details. To help beginners grasp this, these strikes often involve precision attacks to neutralize threats without risking broader conflicts, but they raise ethical questions about sovereignty and civilian lives. CNN has covered Trump's prior deliberations on launching raids inside Venezuela as a tactic to undermine Maduro, with the president himself openly speculating about terrestrial operations. However, specifics remain vague, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio hinted that routes for drug movement might be the primary targets. Think highways, ports, or hidden pathways used by traffickers. Some within the administration advocate for full regime change, arguing that the anti-drug effort could pave the way for Maduro's removal by pressuring his inner circle, many of whom reportedly profit from cartel funds. This strategy might involve choking off those illicit money flows, potentially prompting defections or uprisings against the Venezuelan leader, insiders told CNN. Fresh footage released recently captures Maduro speaking in English, urgently appealing for peace with the U.S., a moment that adds a human element to the standoff. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, Venezuela doesn't qualify as a cocaine-producing nation. The bulk of coca plants, the raw material for cocaine, are found in Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia. A March report from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, dedicated 4 pages to cocaine smuggling routes, but omitted Venezuela, focusing instead on Ecuador, Central America, and Mexico. For those new to this, coca is a shrub whose leaves are processed into cocaine powder, and these regions have long histories of cultivation due to climate and economic factors. Yet, administration figures insist that trafficking does occur through Venezuela, highlighting Maduro's 2020 indictment on charges of narco-terrorism, essentially accusing him of using drug trade profits to fund violent activities and conspiracy to import cocaine into the U.S. Nicolas Maduro is a convicted drug dealer in the United States and is evading American justice, Rubio declared during a September visit to Ecuador, underscoring the legal angle. Officials stress that Trump is in no hurry to decide, given his current priorities, an upcoming trip to Asia, and discussions with Russia and Ukraine aimed at resolving their ongoing conflict. While open to diplomatic resolutions, Trump abruptly ended earlier this month negotiations facilitated by Special Envoy Richard Grenell, which had involved Maduro and Venezuelan representatives. Any bold operation within Venezuela would likely necessitate approval or at least briefings with Congress before execution, U.S. officials acknowledge. On Thursday, Trump told CNN that he could persist with strikes on drug suspects overseas without a formal war declaration from Congress. He added that while he'd inform lawmakers about any land-based missions, he anticipates no significant opposition. "I'm not necessarily seeking a war declaration," he stated. "I plan to eliminate those importing drugs into our nation. They'll be taken out, plain and simple." The surge in U.S. forces has sparked debates about the administration's true motives in the region. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell posted on X that repositioning the Gerald R. Ford strike group and its aerial support aims to break apart transnational criminal organizations and combat narco-terrorism. The Ford carrier group was last spotted docking in Split, Croatia, on October 21st, meaning it faces a 5,000-mile journey to the Caribbean, highlighting the logistical challenges and time required for deployment. Prior to the Ford's potential arrival, a large share of the U.S. Navy's global fleet has been shifted to U.S. Southern Command, the military entity overseeing regional operations, as tracked by the United States Naval Institute. This includes the Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group and the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, comprising over 4,500 Marines and sailors, along with 3 guided missile destroyers, an attack submarine, a special operations vessel, a guided missile cruiser, and P-8 Poseidon surveillance planes. For example, these assets could enable amphibious landings or specialized raids, demonstrating the scale of the buildup. In parallel, the U.S. has stationed 10 F-35 stealth fighter jets in Puerto Rico, transforming the island into a central military outpost for Caribbean operations. Additionally, at least 3 MQ-9 Reaper drones, unmanned aircraft renowned for their precision strikes, have been deployed there, as evidenced by Reuters imagery from Aguadilla. Naval Station Roosevelt Roads, a base closed since 2004, has been reactivated, confirmed by satellite photos and on-site images, further amplifying the military footprint. CNN's Kevin Liptak and Priscilla Alvarez contributed reporting to this piece. What do you think? Does the U.S. have a right to intervene in Venezuela's affairs under the guise of drug enforcement? Or is this a slippery slope toward regime change? Could diplomatic talks still salvage the situation? Or are military options inevitable? Share your views in the comments. I'd love to hear agreements or disagreements, and let's discuss if there's a controversial counterpoint here. Maybe targeting drug routes is a smart strategy for global security, or perhaps it's an overreach that ignores Venezuela's sovereignty and internal struggles. Your thoughts?